How exciting. We are live with Daily Dave. It is Friday, the 8th of January already. And I've got a special guest. If you saw that in the pretext, Kevin Turnbull from Los Angeles is here. Kevin, welcome to Daily Dave, amigo.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Good to have you here. Kevin, just let everybody know what it is that you spend your time doing.
Well, I run the real leadership coaching practice in Los Angeles, and my daily basis is really spent coaching clients and networking amongst the good and the great of the business community in Greater LA. And it's extremely rewarding.
Yeah, and Kevin, we've always been delighted to have you as part of our RLC DNA in the States. And I also love the fact that you are, of course, our VP of Consult, our consulting training program that we have in the States as well. So we've got to the 8th of January. So week one of a technical business week is done. How has it gone in America? What have you heard people saying? I feel like that there's a big sigh of relief this week that it is Friday. It has been a hard week. What have you noticed?
Well, I think everyone is feeling the strain of the pandemic. And that's not just my business acquaintances, that's family and friends. LA's been hit really badly by Corona, and we're effectively on lockdown. And it seems like we've been on lockdown since last March. So that's, I spend a lot of time with my clients talking about, kind of how do they feel, mental issues and stuff like that. I've got one client who lives on his own, single guy. And in situations like that, the weekend can seem like they're endless and not something to look forward to. So I'm extremely careful to kind of vet my client's mental state. In general, though, there's notwithstanding the disgraceful events on Capitol Hill on Wednesday, there's I think a collective sigh of relief that we're having an end to this political issues of the presidency, and people are looking forward to a normalcy. Once Joe Biden gets inaugurated in a couple of weeks' time. I don't think the problems are going to go away, but at least it's going to feel like it's a bit more normal. And then, of course, the economy is not great because of the pandemic, so there's going to be a lot of reconstruction. And I don't think people manage change very well.
Yeah,
and we're in a state of high change, and it's very worrying to a lot of people.
I have to say I agree with you. There's been a lot going on this week, and I have to say it's almost that alone could take your breath away. So what would you suggest to somebody who might be feeling under the weather, Kev?
I think the great benefit of coaching, in simple terms, is you get the opportunity to talk things through. You get the opportunity to talk things out. And you have a coach often as a sounding board, just to kind of take the temperature and stress test stuff. And I encourage people all the time to take advantage of family and friends and share their issues, because it's mostly issues, sadly, at the moment, not opportunities, if you see what I mean. But share their issues and kind of get a better perspective on what's happening.
That's a fabulous message. In fact, I've just clicked a button, Kevin. It looks like I can post that straight on YouTube. So that double DDV, use your coach as a sounding board, talk things out, has gone straight onto the YouTube site. So fantastic that I've been able to repeat your words somewhere else. Things you can do on this thing so far. I agree with you, because we were speaking about in December last year that people care in 2021 is going to be more important than ever. And I spoke with quite a few corporate friends this morning in terms of RLC UK. And there is an acceptance that people are now yo-yoing with their levels of fatigue. And people aren't doing it intentionally, but it's a bit like going through a trauma. When the trauma passes, you wake up that day and you go, oh my goodness, I'm tired and I don't realize why. That's going to happen for masses of the population, I think, this year. But there was also talk, which I thought was really exciting, that in this one particular brand this morning, there was talk of, in Britain, there is clear hope now. There's sign of it. There's a clear sign that hope is coming. And actually, we've got lots to be excited about with vaccinations, rollouts, and fighting our way back to some type of normality that will be different. But whereas before, it wasn't even there. So there's a strangeness to the air, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with all that, Dave. And I think we have to celebrate good news.
Yeah.
You know, for example, one of my clients is a surgeon, and this week he got his second vaccination, and you kind of, I'm pleased for him, and it's a sign of good news that we're getting to grips with this pandemic, that the medical and emergency staff are being inoculated, vaccinated, and hopefully we'll all be next. And I think the issue with 2020 was that there didn't seem to be much light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you're just staring into this abyss of, you know, what the hell is happening. But now we've got more, you know, the green shoots of spring are kind of clearly around us, and it's a new year, and I think people are being much more positive about it.
So in the spirit of positive, Kevin, I've got to say, we've got Hayden Bratt. You can read the comment while my echo disperses. Two great legends sharing some positive tips and ideas of how we can lead in 2021. I mean, there you go, Kevin. That's celebrating news, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the sort of positivity that we want as well.
It is. We've also got Jim Holland.
Yeah, I see that as a fundamental part of my role, of our role, you know, when we're helping our clients to weather these storms, about being positive and talking to the positives, not the negatives.
Totally, because you can get lost in it, can't you? You can accidentally build common ground on all the bad stuff. And we're not saying ignore the bad stuff. It is there, but actually think about your interpretation, because what you do to this mental frame is really up to you. And, you know, and if you find yourself in that rapport mode where all you're talking about is the news from yesterday, the incidents from today, you know, the COVID numbers, or any other thing that you're building a mood hoover rapport with, is to recognize it so that you can stop yourselves and say, yeah, we are in agreement. Why don't we try and agree on another thing that will make us feel better instead?
Right. No, that's great advice. Of course, from a personal point of view, you know, as a you know, I support Sunderland soccer team, and we're used to adversity, you know, generation to generation. So you know, that helps me build up a thick skin to things that go wrong in my life, because I know it could be worse, just through the act of following Sunderland. And so you've got to put things into perspective. You've got to get a balance. You know, I'm grateful for so many things, but it could be easy to succumb to kind of feelings of despair at times. But
yeah,
actually, I have a good life. I live in LA. It's 70 degrees out there. It's a beautiful blue sky. It hasn't rained for months, which is not great, I know, but even so, people have got plenty to be thankful for.
I totally think so. And going into this first week of January, we talked about 6 minutes ago about this sigh of relief. It's Friday. You know, the great thing about a sigh of relief is it's a physiological and biological thing. So you're like, it's much better if it's following a deep, slow breath in that's more meditational, because as you do it, and you're breathing out slower than you breathed in, you immediately change your mental state physiologically. So it's recognizing that sigh of relief is actually you're almost your unconscious brain, not even your subconscious, Kevin, is like sending you an SOS going, come on, Dave, do better than this, please, because they want to do better. Let's have a look. There's a comment from Andrew Cameron, who's based out of London. I'll bring it up. This is brilliant. Andrew Cameron, you think you've got it tough supporting Sunderland, Kevin? I'm a Partick Thistle supporter. And that's brilliant, isn't it?
The Jags, come on, the Jags. I've seen Partick Thistle play Hearts
Yeah.
in my time when I lived in Scotland.
I said this to Cameron a while ago, who's people who know him really well call him Jock. And anyway, you don't. It's not many times when you're broadcasting and talking to people where you get to say the name Chick Charnley. There's a legend of the game, Kevin.
Indeed.
So one last thing from all of us here is that as you go into your weekend, whenever that starts for you, is to apply a word that RLC team all over the world have been talking about all week, is let's put intentionality at the top of our agendas. And that means taking care of, I think, this week, Kevin, on the 8th of January, of the tiny things that might just tilt your brain or your mood or your mental well-being or your mental state the wrong direction, and just learning to intercept those little couple of degrees and move them into the way they should be heading. And that, for me, is a conscious decision. So that's where I'd like to leave people for the weekend. What about you, Kev? What would you like to leave them with?
Well, I think on that same theme, enjoy little successes. Get those little things done and feel that sense of achievement. We're not all going to change the world overnight.
Yeah.
But be proud of the little things that you've done and move yourself on in a very positive way.
And as we wrap up this recording on Daily Dave, just going to repost Hayden's. I really like this one. Two great legends sharing some positive tips and ideas of how we can lead in 2021. I think that's my personal favourite. So thank you, Mr. Hayden, and thank you to Andrew Cameron, WD2V, WD Jim Holland, and everybody who's taken the time to comment with us as well. Have a fabulous weekend. This has been Daily Dave.